Being a Christian woman and walking in God's calling for our lives can be a difficult task. With the world and pop culture telling us to be one way, and the Bible saying another, you kind of end up feeling like an other. Well, you're not alone. Join me, Mal, and my friends as we navigate life in our 20s and 30s, while making sure we live out our faith, embrace our femininity, and looking cute. We discuss pop culture, life, careers, relationships, and so much more. Prepare to be entertained and educated. I know you're going to love it. Join our movement and embrace being another girl. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
And I'm Isabel.
And this is our first Teacap back from our break, our hiatus. If you have not already listened to our New Year's tips and advice, I guess, to have a good New Year episode, which is before this episode, if this is your first official Teacap listening to our podcast, I want you to know what you're about to expect. We go over different stories that have happened. We have a lot's happened in the past month, but I just picked a couple for us to discuss. And we are talking about life, career, relationships, pop culture, all the things. And we're giving a Christian perspective. So this pop culture podcast is going to be a little different than the pop culture podcast you normally listen to. I mean, some might argue it's better. That's just, that's what they say. I don't know. But I think you're going to love it. So I'm Mallory, and this is Isabel. Isabel, how have you been? By the time everybody hears this, it's going to be January 1st. So, tell us 2023, how are you? What was a word to describe 2020? Just talk. Tell me.
First, let me clear my throat. Yes, so good to be back. I can't believe it's 2024. Well, it will be by the time you guys listen to this episode. 2023 was definitely filled with lots of lows and definitely some highs, but it was definitely a roller coaster. And I think 29 was definitely a monumental year for me personally. As I was telling you right before off the clock here, but it was a lot of off the mic, whatever, however you say it. Anyways, so it was a lot of realizing where my values, where I stood on things, and everything just became clear at the same time. Even though it was a little a confusing year, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I prioritized my health, my mental health first and foremost, and I had to make some decisions that were not easy. But again, having to prioritize myself and also realizing who I want to be. Right, I'm going to be 30. What this new decade want. How I want to live my life, how I want my 30s to look like, and what is Isabel doing in 10, 20 years from now, and becoming that person. So yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
This was a crazy year for me. Kind of like what you said, a lot of lows, but I do feel like I had a lot of highs, as well. And,
Sure.
I think that, I guess for this year, friendship was really, really big for me. That was just something that really carried me on. I feel like I got closer with a lot of my friends that I had been friends with, for a long time. And I saw different sides of some of my new friends that I've made. And also this year really has me kind of similar to what you're saying, prioritizing or understanding what do I want for my life. It is hard to get from point A to point B sometimes, and that's where I'm at point A, and I so desperately need to get to point B, and it's very hard to get there, but I do know what my point B is, and I do know I want to get there. And I think that was just a huge lesson I learned this year.
Well, that's good.
And it's just a matter of going from A to B, figuring it out somehow. And this year definitely was a difficult one for me personally. A lot of things did not go the way. Yeah, a lot of things did not go the way I planned, but I do have hope and faith that 2024 will be a better year, and I can close the chapter in 2023, get the lessons out of it that I learned, and just never have to revisit that time and season in my life again. That's the
Right.
plan.
For every, what did they say? For every new beginning, there has to be an ending. So
Yes.
all good things must come to an end. So and all the bad things too. So, and I think like
Yeah.
something that I've also been learning about just the tough times is that like obviously even though good times don't last, neither do the bad things.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, you know, we can reminded that even in the midst of those trials and tribulations and stuff, that like God is still good and that it's not gonna last forever, no matter what it is that you're going through. So that's just a little side note, and yeah,
Yeah.
give yourself grace, Mel, and hey, we made it, so thank God.
Amen. And
Hug, sister.
also for you,
I'm
like I
armed
feel
and
like
sword.
no, but like for you, I feel like I've seen a lot of growth from the beginning of the year to now, just in like your personal life, and like I feel like you've like I don't know, you seem so much happier, and I'm proud of you and like happy of how everything turned out for you this year. Even though you
Thanks,
had
Mel.
some lows, but like it seemed like you're going out at least on a high. So
Yeah, for sure. No, thanks, Mel. And I'm proud of you as well.
oh, you don't have to
And
do this. I wasn't. You don't have to do
no,
this.
seriously, like I think about like how we met. I'm like how we met. I act like I'm proposing to you. How we turning point. It's just crazy how, like, social media, it can be turned for good and like meeting really good friends. And obviously, I'm thankful for you. And can't believe like we're on the podcast. And I kind of invited myself to your podcast. I guess now, what, like a year ago, right?
I think
Did we meet in
it's almost
2022?
2 years.
2 years.
Almost
Oh my God.
2021. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's been a while, and obviously, like I relate to you a lot, and obviously, like in our singleness. Obviously, I'm not single anymore, but like in our singleness, in our faith, we just had a lot of things in common, and like obviously, like you shared, there was been a lot of lows in 2023, but we managed to be on the uppity up, and I think things are gonna look good for us in 2024, and if not, God is still good. And like to your point, like you said that you want to be a good friend and put your heart into your friendships and cultivating that. And I think you're doing amazing, sweetie, and I could definitely attest that you are a good friend, and hopefully we get to see each other more. But yeah, obviously, like a lot of things have happened last year, but in the midst of it all, I'm just thankful for, like, to your point, good friends, family, my boyfriend, all of that, because I think it just keeps you rooted and grounded. And honestly, life is hard, and you need people there to support you and to lift you up when you're feeling down and like you're at your lowest. So I'm thankful that you have that as well. Again, wish we didn't live states apart, but that just means we're gonna have to visit each other. Maybe
Right.
2024. We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see each other maybe more than once
Yes,
even.
queen.
Um
This is the year we turn 30. Just wanted to throw that out there, queen.
no, it's okay. All in God's timing. Like
Yeah.
just a tiny quick rant about that. Like I really like turning 29. I mean, I was just a
Yeah.
wreck.
How was
But like
it?
I really have been trying to focus and thinking about like everything's happening in God's timing. Like nothing, absolutely
Yes.
nothing I'm saying or doing is like on my own schedule. Like if I could do things differently, I would, but that's just not, and I can't change that. Like
Yeah.
hasn't,
I
if
think
God hasn't
29.
ordained, wait,
Yeah, I think
say that
like
again.
year. Oh, sorry. I was like, I just said I think year 29 is just for me. It was like coming to face with the realization of like what I thought my life was gonna look like versus what it actually looks like from like every single aspect of my life. And I think it was a lot of like, yeah, a lot of realizing, okay, what am I doing, like what is really truly making me happy, how do I want to live my life, obviously I'm not married, I don't have kids, and I thought I was going to be 25 married with kids, and I didn't think I was going to be living at home, like all these things is like coming to terms with like where you're at in life, and like it's almost like a weird feeling of like not beating yourself up but giving yourself like, hey, you can do this, like you can live the life that you want to live, but also like giving yourself grace as well. Like it's just a weird timing for me. It's still like a ongoing like learning type of thing of giving myself grace, but also saying like, hey, girl, let's get it together. Like we can make things happen. You can reach your goals, and you can create the life that you want to live. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. And that's what I'm focusing on this year too. It's just kind of like, you know, at the end of the day, like if God hasn't ordained something to happen, it's just not going to happen. And I think
Yeah.
that has been like a big thing. I guess it's a positive. This year, I've really let go of like, since we're talking about relationships, I kind of let go of the whole relationship thing. Not
Yeah.
in like I've given up, like da da. It's just more of like I'm not in control of that. Like there's nothing I can do to make someone want to be with me.
Right.
So like I'm not going to sit here and like
dwell.
Exactly. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm going to focus on other things that I can control. I can't
Right.
control how much time I'm spending in the Bible, in the Word. I can't control how much time I'm spending with the podcast. I can't control if I hang out with my friends tomorrow, type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's really what I like. That's something that I think has just been really important for me. It's just like to let some things go.
For
And
sure.
once I don't know, that I will say that's another thing that like was positive for this year. I just letting it go has given me so much more peace about it. So
Yes,
much more
and
peace.
that's a good thing, like peace. I feel like that's my word for like 2024. Like going, like when you say, "Oh my God, so you look happier" and stuff like that. I feel like 'cause I'm trying to chase what matters, which is like God and my relationships, and just seeking peace, right? So if something or someone doesn't bring me peace, like I don't want to be a part of it. Like I don't want to live a life, and I think it also comes with like I said off the mic, like I put a lot of stuff on social media. A lot of people haven't followed me for years. Like I put a lot of my life there, and I think now it's like, what is important? What should I share? What should I not share? Like, what should I keep things private? And I think the less people that know about your business, about your personal life, like the more private you are, the more like exclusive you are with the right people that have the right intentions. The more you can seek that happiness and like foster that in like yourself and in your relationships. And it's like, yeah, I just don't want drama. I don't like. I'm trying to live a peaceful life. So if it's not bringing
Yeah.
me peace, if it's not bringing me money, no, I'm just kidding. Peace, happiness, and love. No,
Yes.
no, but seriously.
Well, I think that's a good catch up. We should definitely get into our stories. But before we get into the stories, I want to do some quick morning announcements. Number one, join us for the March for Life. It is January 19th. If you're going to the March for Life by yourself, don't go by yourself. Come meet up with us. I have a group chat going on Instagram. So reach out to me if you're interested in that. We're also going to get dinner right after, but don't go by yourself. It's a really great first step to getting involved in the pro-life movement. So that's the first thing. Second thing, if you live in the Charlotte area, we are going to be putting together Embrace Grace boxes for the University City Women's Center, which I'm very excited about. Embrace Grace, I love what they're doing, and I think that in these boxes will be for moms who have chosen life and just kind of just a little bit of a support. And we're going to get a tour of the center. It's going to be great, and that is February 3rd.
Oh,
Last
fun.
big announcement. You should join our Patreon. For the month of January, everyone who is in the Patreon is entered to win a $50 Culture of Life 1972 gift
Oh,
card. Yes, that's right. For the month of January, if you join our Patreon for as low as $5 a month, you are able to enter for that gift card. Let me tell you other things you get. You're going to get a new episode each month. And another thing that I'm starting is you will have the ability, so we'll have a guest. You'll have the ability to have a Patreon specific question from that guest. So you guys, I'll tell you who the guest is, and you guys can like ask a question. We can vote on a question to ask them, or I'll come up with a question, and only the Patreon will get to hear that answer from that guest.
oh, that's fun.
Yeah, you guys. So you're gonna want to join. What does your $5 go to? It goes to helping pay for the software, marketing, the website, events and things like that. Like tabling at sometimes it costs money to table at events. Like it is your money is going to go to also helping other girls join our movement. Um,
We love that.
this podcast community is for people who don't really feel like they're kind of fitting in like the mainstream conservative. It's kind of turning a little catty, kind of mean girl-ish. And if you're kind of tired of that, if you're a Christian, if you are like, I care more about my faith over this whole political thing, obviously because we are Christians, we are policy ideas and things like that are going to align with certain values. But if you're kind of over like the pettiness and you want to be around other women who are kind and who want to speak the truth but within grace and in love, like this is the group. And I want to do more things. I know that there is a need for this because a lot of you reach out to me. I want to do more meetups because I know there's so many of us out there, and
Yeah.
your $5 a month, or there's an option for $20 a month. I believe there's also an option for $60 a month. Your contribution helps us meet and helps us grow this community. So that is it for the announcements. Are you ready for our stories?
Yes. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. So yeah, so you should join the Patreon. It, like I said, you also get early access to if there's an event that's happening, if there's new merch. By the time you hear this, there should be new merch on the website. We've redone things. Let me know, how do you feel about the new theme song? How do you feel about some of the new, changing it up a little bit? This year is going to be a great year. This is a year where we're going to really be focusing on growing our community and being together as a community and uplifting each other. And I'm just so excited. This is the first Teacap back. This is our first time, and if you're new listening, you're gonna love it. You're out. Go ahead and give us 5 stars. You're gonna love it. Okay, are you ready now for
Yes, I
our
am.
stories? You have your cup?
I don't, but I have my water bottle.
Perfect. And let's toast.
Cheers.
Okay, so our Teacap. Okay, so our first story is from the Daily Mail.
Ooh.
These 4 social media influencers were swept up by the movement that claims obesity is perfectly healthy. The tragic truth is they have all died under the age of 45. So before we get this story, I want everyone to listen. Whatever you think our opinions are going to be, it might not be that. Because I know this is like a touchy subject, which is why I want us to talk about it. Because one thing I mentioned earlier, we speak the truth, but in grace and in love. Okay. The past decade has seen an extraordinary momentum building around a central argument that being obese doesn't have to mean unhealthy. Branded health at every size, the philosophy at its heart has goals. It aims to counter the multi-billion-dollar diet industry, which has a poor record when it comes to long-term sustainable weight loss, and act as an antidote to the stigma encountered by people struggling with weight. The idea is that rather than shame overweight people and force them to diet, they should be encouraged to embrace their bodies, find exercises they enjoy, and eat more nutritionally. But some say those philosophies have taken to the extremes, particularly on social media, by celebrating morbid obesity while ignoring its serious health dangers. The U.S. edition of Cosmopolitan was criticized for running a plus-size woman in yoga with the headline, "This is Health." A self-styled fat activist, meanwhile, not only promotes larger bodies as healthy, but rejects decades of science which prove that dangers of excess body fat, encourages devotees to ignore doctors. For obesity specialists, they say ample evidence shows obesity can promote and accelerate over 200 diseases such as diabetes, strokes, and many cancers. Higher waist girth is a major reason for many people living with multiple chronic conditions, leading to suffering and health costs. And for those who say losing weight is not necessarily to improve health, considerable evidence now shows intentional weight loss via lifestyle or drugs can help lower the risk of many chronic conditions and even reverse some, such as diabetes. Far too many people do not like how they look, and for many people, diets do not work in the long term. And repeatedly failing to lose weight can take its toll on the mental health. For some, using social media to post pictures of themselves fat, happy, and eating, what they want is to love themselves. But is it starting to crumble? The organization, Health at Every Size, in the UK has appeared to have disbanded. Okay, last part about this. So one person wrote that body positivity kept me fat and complacent and enabled me to not make good decisions. Another wrote, I feel guilty for being a part of this movement. Health is real, organs failing is real, diabetes is real, and it's not fat phobic to care about your health. Lucy Daniels, the chairman of the British Diabetes Association, says, fat acceptance started off with the best intentions, but it has gone too far. Most people with excess weight would be healthier with less of it. We've been persuaded to accept that big is okay and people who are obese must learn to love themselves. But I've never met an obese person who didn't want to be more regular size. She concludes, if you're overweight, don't give up on healthy eating and healthier lifestyle choices. Yes, that will be harder than simply buying into the myth that you can be obese and healthy, but it will be far more worthwhile health-wise. So, that
Yeah.
article, I'm going to link that article. You should read that entire article. It has 4 people who were part of the Health at Every Size movement, and they have passed away before 45. And I distinctly
Oh,
remember one of them
he's
because
so
she
young
had,
too.
yeah, it's like really like serious. And I part of the reason why I want to talk about this is because we're at the beginning of the year, and almost
Everyone's making
everyone,
gold.
yes, is making goals. And I just think sometimes we all need like a good slap in the face. So one of the girls, actually, I remember she had there was like a episode on, I want to say E, or like one of those shows where they, exploit everyone, and she created a salon for plus, like, bigger women, like not just like plus size, but like bigger women. And she said she felt ashamed. She went to a salon once to get her nails done, and she couldn't fit in the chairs, and she felt ashamed. So she decided to make a salon for people like her. And then she's one of the women that passed that they highlighted. So they have like, yeah, so they have, it's a really good article that I really think everyone should read. So you care if I go first talking about this?
Yeah, girl, take the stage.
So I, like I said, I really thought this was important. If you know anything about me, if you're new here, I have struggled with my weight my entire life. There has never been a time in my life where I was not fat. Um, and obviously I haven't always been this fat, because there's times where I've like lost weight and looked better, and up and down. So this is definitely something that's like near and dear to my heart, because it's something that, like, I know I'm not the only person who struggles with it, because I'll post about it on my Instagram, and other people are struggling with it as well. So I saw this article, and it really just gets you thinking. Like, I know for myself, I had to, like, this year, I kind of alluded to it earlier, like, I had to make some changes. I went and saw like a special type of doctor that, one time I'll do like maybe 3 months, and then I'll like kind of explain, like, if everything keeps working, I'll explain like all the stuff I've been going through. But I had to see like what is really going on, because it was just a
Mhm.
lot. And I think that I think we said this in another episode, or maybe Isabel might have said it this episode, but there's a lot of things, like, everyone has an opinion on TikTok and Instagram. You
Yeah.
gotta find what works for you, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to figure out, like, what does your body respond to, because then if not, you're going to end up doing a bunch of things that are like counterproductive. And I think like this year, like, join me, like, let's get serious about this. I know that for a long time, I, like, someone who grew up fat, like, you're always thinking about it. That's like the inside joke. You're always thinking about it. But there are times where I just, like, kind of like try not to think about it, because I just want to enjoy my life. I'm in my 20s. Like, I want to be able to, my friends can eat burgers and fries and it doesn't affect them. Like, I want to be able to do that, but like, I can't. So sometimes I would just, just like get it out my mind. Like, but at some point you do have to figure out what's going on with your body. So I highly suggest anyone listening and you've like really struggled with your weight, I suggest going to get tested. Get your blood sugar, thyroid, and your hormones tested. That will show a lot of things, and then you can figure out like what's the best plan for you. Because I think that, and I like what she said. She said, like, it started off with the best intentions. Because let's be honest, like, some people, even people like on the right, can be really mean to fat people. I mean, it was that picture of
They
that
can be mean
girl.
to the girls in general. I mean, you saw with the Taylor Swift stuff.
Exactly.
Girl.
Like, people can be mean. So like, I understand people wanting to like do something like to counteract it. Like, I totally understand that, but like, at some point you do have to like take responsibility, and you have to be serious and actually do something. You have to make some changes, because the reality of the fact is it's not fun. It's not really fun. There's nothing really cool about it. Like, people are, some of the girls that they showed that were on TikTok were like, this is I think one of the girls like had an oxygen tank on. Like, it's just, it can get, yes. And
No.
she's like, oh,
I'm
I
like,
love
no.
being, and it's like, at some point you have to kind of like,
I was about to say at
okay,
some point we gotta like, okay.
right. At some point you gotta be like, okay, this has gone too far. And I'll say, like, for something, once again, I'll share more like in a couple months. But something in my life, I was like, okay, this has gone a little too, like, I have veered off too far. I need to start making some changes. I will say one of the things that I started doing, I really think it makes a difference, is I got a walking pad at work. And it was a whole mess at the beginning. Like, it was turning off our power. But anyway, somehow we figured it
Well,
out. But now I can use a walking pad. And I think it has been making a difference in at least like getting moving. So I know another thing too is like a lot of us have desk jobs where we're sitting at our desk,
Yes.
like we're driving to work.
All day.
Yes, we're sitting at our desk all day, and then we get into the car to drive again, and like that really isn't good for your health. I mean, for any aspect of your health, but that's a whole nother conversation we can get into. But yeah, I just really wanted us to it's the new year. I think that lose weight to your goals. Do it. Like I know there's a new thing about like don't do that. Do it. Like, and if you need to lose weight, add it and like work on it. And like I said the other episode, if you make a mistake, pick yourself up and turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. That's what it's
Period.
all about. Isabel, what are your thoughts from another perspective? Like, I guess from the opposite perspective.
From someone that can't gain weight.
No, I mean, no, I mean, no.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, no, no, no. I know what you mean. And it's crazy, like to your point, getting your blood work. I still get my blood work. I think a lot of people have a misconception that skinny people are just like, oh my goodness, they eat so healthy. I'm here to
Right.
debunk that myth because I probably know some like heavier like women in my life who probably eat healthier than me. And so a lot of it sometimes is genetics. You can't really, But I
Yeah.
will say, like in your late 20s, 30s, everybody's body changes, metabolism changes. I mean, I never had heartburn till I was like 27, and I'm like, hello, because I was like I wasn't gaining weight, but like my body could just burn fat, but that didn't mean that was necessarily what I was eating was a healthy diet, like pizza and like fried food, like all that stuff. So I think overall, it's just like prioritizing your health and what's going on the inside versus what we see on the outside. Because to your point, you could like it's at some point we can't be like, okay, this is the oxygen tank, this is so fun, this should be a trend, and we should like
Right.
publicize this. So I think it's just
Right.
like no matter like what your size is, prioritizing what's going on the inside, and it's obviously going to reflect on the outside. Like it really just starts from within of like any kind of like lifestyle change. You have to start with like small changes and not do something like drastic. But I definitely think with the whole like, I mean, I obviously can't relate, but like from what I see, it's like they're trying to make it like this cool thing, but at the end of the day, like we're hurting people versus telling them the truth. And I think sometimes we don't want to tell people the truth because the truth is uncomfortable, because the truth might offend them or whatever. But at the end of the day, like if you saw someone, this is even true biblically speaking, if you want to speak to someone about God or Jesus, we are here to spread truth and light and love. So it's the same thing. Like you wouldn't see a friend if you saw one of your best friends like running towards a cliff and about to jump off. Like you wouldn't be like, oh no, it's okay, I don't want to offend that person and tell them that they're gonna die. You would be like
Right.
running, like trying to save them. So I think that's just like using that same analogy to like telling your friends the truth and love and stuff like that. And obviously it could be sensitive subject because some people like to your point, and it's not just like they are eating and exercising, it's just sometimes, like I said, genetics aren't helping as much. So it is a touchy subject, but again, if you love someone, you tell them the truth, and you know, and if they do love you back and respect you, they're gonna understand. So maybe practicing those like healthy habits.
Yeah, like I really respect. I've only, other than male, like my male friends have all been pretty honest with me, but like I really respected. I've only had one female friend to like make a comment
Yeah.
in the vein of like, hey, like what's going on? Like
Obviously,
I've
there's a time and a
noticed.
place too.
Oh, that too. Like, you guys, if you're all out, having fun and like
It's not
you're
your
walking
time.
home, hey girl, I noticed you gained some weight. Like, what's like that's not the time and the place. Like, use discernment. But I really respected my friend, that one friend
Yeah.
that like kind of asked me like, hey, is everything going okay? Because here's the other thing too. Like,
Yeah.
most people,
Excuse me.
who gain a lot of weight, it
Yeah.
is not just because they're just eating and like sitting at home and laying down. Some of it's a
Yeah.
lot of like mental health,
Stress.
has
Yeah.
stress, mental health issues. Like it's this, like
Or
that's
alcohol
another aspect
consumption.
of it. Say that again.
Yeah, or like other substances like alcohol, or like if you're on a certain
Mm-hmm.
medicine. Like there's so many factors, and I think even I'm pretty sure even doctors, like if you go to like a holistic doctor, they'll try to figure out what's going on mentally, physically, spiritually, because it all affects your diet, exercise, your sleep. Like sleep is so important. Like you really need to be getting 8 hours of sleep. And I heard the most optimal time is from like 8 p.m. to like 8 a.m. So any hours in between then, that's like the most optimal time, and that affects your like sugar levels, your girl. don't even, because my dad has recently had health issues, and obviously my parents are getting older, and so like it's important to know like what's going on in your body, and so that you can help yourself and help others. But yeah, that's one thing about like there's so many things that can affect your weight gain or loss. Or even if you're losing weight drastically, there could be something wrong, or like gaining weight drastically. Like you just always want to, consult with your doctor and see what's going on, and seeing if you're like in the right, weight range. Again, as long as you're healthy on the inside, obviously, yes, it's going to reflect on the outside too, or at least.
Yeah. Yeah. And last thing to that point, like I think you were saying like there's a lot of other factors, so you do have to go check it
Yeah,
out. Like because I mean I'll say like a little glimpse of like what was going on with me. Like I was doing things that I needed to do, but there was something hindering it because there was something else going on like in my body. So like I
yeah.
could work out and eat right and do X, Y, and Z. I've never been like one of those people that like pigs out like with a pizza and ice cream and just like lays around. Like I'd be doing things. Like if you
That's
know
what
me,
I'm
like
saying. People probably assume or think that.
no, literally. And like I do things. So like and even growing up, like my mom had me playing all the sports. I sat on the
Yeah,
bench, but I was like, she
not the
had me
bed.
at the practices.
Like you
So
still did
like
the
clearly there's
physical.
something else. And I think that you just have to figure that out yourself. And I think like if
Yeah,
your friend is going through that, like being supportive of whatever method that they choose. Obviously, if it's something like
yeah,
that will hurt them, speak up, say something. But like I think if, your friend
yeah.
deciding to go vegan and you're like, that doesn't blah blah blah. If it's working for them, encourage them. Like
Right.
give them
Yeah.
pat on the back. Because
That's a
that's like
good
really
point.
what that's what it's about. Like, getting to the health and like figuring this out. So
I
yeah.
was gonna say something else, but I think I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, you would think I wake up and eat salads and never touch a burger, but like, honey, I eat. I love barbecue. I love all the things that I should be eating. So again, like, what is it called? It's not always what it seems on the outside. It's mainly what's going on the inside, and everyone's body's so different. And especially when you like get older, especially women. Oh my goodness, when you have if you have children, obviously. Mal and I, we have not gone through that, but like when you go and you get pregnant and all of that, childbirth and postpartum, like your body just changes so much throughout every single stage of your life. So again, just giving yourself grace and love, and even like with alcohol, like if I noticed my when I was in Dallas, I was drinking more, just socially, and I realized back in my pictures in 2019, like my body, not my body, my face was more swollen and my cheeks were more swollen, and it was because I was drinking all that alcohol and the sugar and the processed foods. And then as soon as and your teeth also play a big role, like how full your face looks. And so even those little changes, now I get why people think like, oh, that person has surgery and stuff. But sometimes just losing weight on your face can like give you a whole completely new like face shape. So,
No, literally.
anyways,
Like
that's just like side note.
I can always tell when okay, I've had too much sugar this week or something by like
Yeah,
my face just looks like
like
thick, like
poofy.
swollen. I don't know. Like it looks like it can pop it almost. Like I've noticed that
Like it
in
looks
myself.
poofy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
poofy. It just looks poofy. Like I can always, and then when I'm cutting back sugar and like being more intentional with like the healthier meals, I can always
yeah.
tell because like my face just looks less
Like,
poofy, I guess. Like
yeah,
yeah.
it's like more damage.
So
Anyways,
yeah,
okay, let's.
ladies, I'll I'll link the article for you to check out. Because I think it's something to think about, and yeah.
Just
So our
understanding your
next
body
story. Oh,
for
go
sure.
ahead.
I just said understanding your body for sure. Take the time
Yeah.
to understand your body.
Yes, it's very important. That's what we're all doing this year. This year, we're all understanding our own personal bodies. Our own. Don't listen to so and so tell you to drink the sand. I saw something like it was like if you drink the sand, once a day, and I'm like, this can't. No,
Yeah, no,
this.
this girl, she's like a content manager, some. Anyway, she works with influencers, and she was on TikTok, like basically ratting them out. She was like, I'm not gonna name names, but basically, a lot of your so-called favorite influencers, basically get brand deals that they can't turn down because of like whatever money compensation, but they don't even drink that stuff or use the stuff that they're promoting. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be careful. There's fake people in any industry. And it's no different for like influencing, unfortunately. So sorry, I keep getting messages with influencing. So just again, sometimes your favorite influencer or celebrity, whatever, is promoting a product to like weight loss or weight gain or whatever, and they don't even use it themselves. They have so much processed like processed foods or ingredients and stuff that they wouldn't even use on their own skin, hair, and nails, but they want you to use that on your hair, skin, and nails. So
Mhm.
just, anyways, do your research.
Yeah, that's the lesson here. Do your research. So the next article, we'll talk about this quick. This happened a couple weeks ago, but I did want to give our opinion on it. This is brought to you by the New York Post. Anthony Edwards is embroiled in a 100K abortion scandal after a model exposes the text. So I'm not going to read the entire article. I am going to read the text.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll discuss it. So Anthony Edwards was dating this model and he sent her these texts. So I'll read them. She sent him a positive pregnancy test and she said, I still have an appointment on the 27th. And he said, nah, can't do this. And
Oh
she
yeah.
said, so now what? What a great response. And he said, get an abortion, LOL. And then she said, honestly, I had an abortion with my son around 2 years ago and I regret it every day. And then he goes, man, you can't force a kid in the world. You don't know what it is yet. And then she said, that's not the point. I said I had an abortion 2 years ago and I regret it. And he goes, yeah, but I don't want a kid. Okay. Let's discuss. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about two parts of this. I'll talk about the first part. She did end up getting the abortion. So she ended up getting the abortion, which is awful. It's awful. She made that decision. And
Yeah, ultimately she did, even though obviously he was pressuring her. She ended
right,
up doing it.
right. So she made the decision. She also made the decision to have sex with this man. And that is like women, we have got to. If you needed help, she could have reached out for help. She had other options. We cannot, um, like, we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to take responsibility. This is something that's happened. And she said that she's already regretted it once, which I think that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes that she said she already admitted that she regretted it and then she did it again. Like this, and that's a cycle, but that's another conversation. So I want to talk about that
Right.
aspect. Like, women, we have to do better. Like that, she did that and she's going to have to live with that
Live
for the
with
rest
that.
of her life until she repents and then God will forgive her. And she can move forward, but until she repents, like that's going to be weighing on her, and that's why it's really important. We have to do a better job picking the men. I promise you, he's saying, like, I promise you, she's not too surprised that he doesn't want it. Like, even in how casual, like, wasn't a shocker. Oh, he doesn't want it. Like, and if you're with a man like that, why are you having sex with him? Like, that is the craziest part.
Yeah.
Now, here's the other aspect. We also can't be having sexual relations with men like that. Like, what a like gross man to automatically get an abortion, LOL. Like, he said it's okay. Yeah, get an abortion,
Oh my
LOL. Like,
god, that made
that's
me disgusting.
disgusting. That's not even a real man. That's just
Like the fact that I would even like get physical with someone like that. Like I
right.
just I
Like,
like I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Like,
that's to me the way that someone like acts or like how they even not portray themselves, but like present themselves. Like that's obviously a turn off. Like I wouldn't even be like turned on to like want to kiss you, much less create a baby with you. You know?
right.
And I mean, obviously, like yeah, we all fall short, and we all whatever. But like, girl, like we got to do better. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's another thing too. Like, I think so many of us, and there's nothing wrong with it. We so desperately want to be loved. We so desperately want to be moms. Like, we are making a lot
Yeah.
of decisions as women, as girls, to be with men that do not deserve us. I think we have to be, and it's hard because everyone around you, at least everyone around me, is like, oh, lower standards, lower standards. Like, I really don't think you should. Like, I
Yeah.
promise you, if she wanted to keep it, like, something about him did not reach her standards, but she had to lower her standards to be with him. once again, not shirking her responsibility, because she could have and should have kept the baby. Like, it was a human being, and she did,
But she was a grown woman, like
she's
we
a
always
grown.
talk about, like, right, I'm 29. If anything were to happen, right, God forbid, but like if anything were to happen, it's like I'm 29 years old, like I'm a grown woman, like I have to take accountability for my actions and my decisions. Every decision you make comes with a consequence, whether good or bad, and we just have to be a society that takes accountability for our own actions, including my own. So I think that that's what we need to tell young women, and even if you do make mistakes, there's always a better outcome. There's always a better option. There's always you can turn things around. So it's never too late. And God forgives us. So yeah, I think to your point, that's one of those things. Like I think she could have had a lot of support. She could have had monetary support, everything. Like it's not the end of the world, even though sometimes that's what it feels like. And granted, I've never been in her situation, so I'm not trying to like judge. But like at the end of the day, like the way the guy responded and stuff,
Mm-mm.
it was just like huge red flag. Like I don't even, we wouldn't even mean that guy would not even be in the same room.
No, like I can't imagine, like, if someone responded to me that way, I would be embarrassed that, like, I even thought that this guy was worthy of my, like, heir. And I just could not imagine ever seeing them again.
Right.
Especially because I would keep the child. You certainly wouldn't have anything to do with my child. I'll tell you that. Like, if you're going to respond, like, LOL, get an abortion, that's just very disgusting. So I really think, like, women, we need to, take responsibility for our actions, and B, be more selective on who we choose
Yes.
to spend our time with. I think this really
Like
has to go with a lot of women. We are so desperate to want to be loved, and to have children, and just to live this life, and it's like it's not worth it,
yeah,
because
it's not
it's
worth it.
going to continue to eat her up.
And even
That's
not even a
just
pregnancy, it's not worth the STD. It's not
no,
worth the like the things that could happen to you. Like
no.
you can put yourself in danger. You could put yourself in like, oh, it just like the feeling of like someone taking advantage of you. And I can imagine it just feels so violating against everything. It probably against everything you believe, because even girls that like have a relationship with God and everything. Like I don't know. I think that like it's just not, like, to your point, it's not worth it. And like even my dad was telling me, like, even obviously like it takes two to tango, but women, you guys go through a lot, and you just need to be very selective of that partner, because guys can, it's easier for them to basically be like, I'm out, like they're not carrying the child, they're not, at the end of the day, they're not giving birth, they're not carrying the baby to 9 months in their stomach, and hearing them kick and all that stuff, or yeah, feeling them kick. So it's just like, women, we have to guard that with everything, um and not be pressured to do anything. And you don't owe anyone anything. Like if a guy takes you out to dinner, okay, great, guess what, you took me out to dinner, that's it.
Right.
Like they should feel honored to even be in your presence. Like you should hold yourself to a high regard, that you should be like, you know what, I am the prize. Okay. Speaking of that, the Simone Biles, have you heard the whole like controversy with that?
Yeah, you want to talk about
Oh my
that?
God. No. Girl, I'm just like, I no, like you need to be with someone that like thinks highly of you, that like thinks the world of you, that would never cross your boundaries. And there are good guys out there. Trust me. I'm a living testimony.
Okay, okay, queen. Your sound went out. Your sound went out.
Popular. Sorry guys. I'm
Gosh.
planning like a night out with my friends, like a little bar crawl thing. Anyways, so back to the point. Yeah, the whole Simone Biles with her husband. I'm sorry, but what? Like, no, that is my Roman Empire right now. And it made me realize like where I am in my journey of like who I was when I was 20, when I was young, and now who I am now as like almost a 30-year-old. And it's just like the things that you value about a significant other. And I'm just like, God, I'm so glad I did not settle. And even then, like she reminds me of like the guys that I dated in the past. Where it's just like they think that they're the prize. Like, excuse me. And I mean, granted, Simone Miles is like the freaking go, but every woman is, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. It's not the other way around. So no, like, I'm sorry, what?
So, okay, like I agree with everything you said. I guess like to me in the video she was like giggling and like so I'm kind of like maybe she likes like maybe she doesn't care, but I think the
Hmm.
overall message of like it was I will say it was weird. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't know who she was." And like he basically made it seem like she like stalked him to like she begged him to date her. That was weird. I'll grant it that. I I feel like I don't have as strong of a reaction as like everyone else, but I do like I agree with everything that you said though. Like I in my ideal relationship, and like I have been in a relationship like this before, but like in the ideal relationship, like he would be excited to be with me. And I think that is where it does appear as if he's kind of like, yeah, I'm with her, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I'm with her. And I'll be honest, like the
Yeah.
relationships that I have seen that are very healthy, like
Sorry, I'm a
the
little
guy is definitely
snarky.
excited to be with the girl. Like he feels as if he was blessed. And I do think the girl should feel the same way though, too. Like I will say, like
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like, oh, the guy must worship at her feet, even though, you know, that is what I mean, that's what I want, but like, I would like to worship at his feet too, you know? Like, I do think it needs to be reciprocated. Like, the girl should, you know, she shouldn't be rolling her eyes every time he comes and like kisses her either.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, you need to be, I think what is
Honoring
missing in
each
like,
other.
right. I think what is missing in like dating and like dating, what we see and like some of the actual practicality is some people don't date people they like. Like, especially like sometimes I see things on like Twitter, people
Yeah.
saying stuff, and I'm like, do you even like this person? Like, date someone you are excited about. Like, you should be the person you're with.
Yeah. I
They should
never
make
get
you
that.
happy. Like, make
Yeah,
your
I never
eyes light
get that.
up.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, they're like there's like a trend of like guys like hating their girlfriends. Like that's like a trend thing.
yeah,
I'm like, and I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. I think a lot of the times, like now we live in a society where like we can be anything. So I think women, we've kind of like woken up and we're like, what? Like if I'm carrying your child, if I'm gonna be this and I'm gonna give myself to you, I'm working on my goals myself, spiritually, mentally, physically. And then we have this like deadbeat Joe, which again, not everyone's like that. I'm just saying, like there are men that are like essentially just wanting to like, be with someone that's already like whatever, and then it's like, okay, so what are you bringing to the table? Versus
right.
because like it goes back to like, well, I'm already stressed out about life, and now I have this partner, so-called partner, that's adding more stress in my life. That's not making things easier. Might as well struggle on my own.
Literally, that is
Like life is
literally
hard, inflation. Like I don't
no,
need a
no.
partner if we're just gonna be like miserable.
Literally, I was just talking to my friend about this before. I was like, I am at a point in my life where I have a bajillion things I need to work on, you know, like just a
Sorry.
bunch of things I need to work on. If you are not going to add to help me with these things, if you're not going to encourage me, if you're not going to be the shoulder I cry on, then I really would rather just go through this stuff by myself. Like, if you're going
Oh,
to add to it, like, I would just do it myself and then maybe I'll see you in a couple years. But, like, I,
right.
I can't like I
I
personally I
think
can't be with someone who is
yeah.
going to make it worse.
I think another thing that I was gonna add is the fact that like I think women are just waking up to like realizing their worth, and it's like we're like the big sisters, right? Like are that are like rooting the young girls, like please don't make the same mistakes that we did, please. And now
Yeah,
everyone like there was a girl on TikTok or Instagram, I forgot. I was watching this video. She's like now everyone kind of has a more realistic idea. Well, not realistic, but like they have like a backstage, if you will, or like behind the curtain type of thing to everyone's life. Like if you're a mom, now we see like the struggles of being a mom. I mean, obviously not entirely, because obviously
right.
that's a 2-second clip, but like we see that, oh, the kids are actually really bad, or hey, like, not really bad, but like they're being fussy, or they don't always listen to mommy and daddy, and they throw tantrums, and you're like, oh, okay, you know what, maybe motherhood, I can wait, or whatever. It's like we're seeing all these things now, and I think like girls are probably seeing on videos and saying like, "Hey, don't make the same mistakes I did. Hey, wait for marriage. Hey, wait for this and that." You know what I mean? So I think it goes back to like us. There's also like this wave of women that are like, you know what? We worked on ourselves, and we deserve partners that are gonna be. And the girls are not saying, "Oh my God." To your point, most women just want a good partner. We're not even asking like, "Hey, you need to worship my feet and blah 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 blah."
Right.
No, but we're saying work on yourself so that I don't feel like I'm having to raise someone else. Basically,
Right.
like
Right.
I just you liking your partner and having respect and liking them and having respect should be like the bare minimum.
Right. And marriage is such a good, beautiful, God honoring thing that you want to make sure you do it once and with the right person. So it's okay if it takes a minute to find the right person. And I think we're kind of especially on our side of the aisle, we're kind of in a like a
I'm like,
time where it's like, just find somebody, just find somebody, just find somebody. And it's like, marriage is a serious thing. It's a beautiful thing. It is something that so many
but
of
it's a
us
serious
want
thing. Yeah.
and decide, but it's serious. So take the time to make sure you're with the right person because you only want to do it once. The goal is to
Right.
just do it once.
And you
So
evolve so
that's your,
much. Like you evolve so much in your 20s, like you really are a different person in your 30s. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah. Anyways, okay, yeah, we can keep going on forever, but let's keep going because I
Yeah,
do
well,
have
I was
to
gonna say, well,
wrap it up.
that's your relationship segment from Isabel and Mallory.
Exactly.
So one more story and then like a quick little video.
Okay.
And this story is something that kind of went viral, and I kind of just wanted to bring it up because if you don't have me on social media, if you don't follow on social media, you might not know about the story. So this is from Project Veritas.
Oh,
They
okay, good.
actually went undercover in Missouri at a Planned Parenthood, and this is what they found out. So while abortion is prohibited in the state law of Missouri, this has not stopped Planned Parenthood from providing every necessity for minor girls to be transported across state lines for an abortion in Kansas. In a conversation with an investigative journalist, a managing director for Planned Parenthood explains how frequently clinics arrange interstate abortion transfers. They say every day. The managing director describes an elaborate length that an abortion giant will go to facilitate and help conceal abortions for minors. She describes the process of setting up hotels, arranging interstate transport, providing doctor's notes, and even paying for the abortion as a common service they offer to minors without parental knowledge. She also references a bypass that is available to minors, and this bypass seems to also bypass parental knowledge. The video reveals the shocking ease at which an adult can facilitate a young person's abortion. So I will link the article and you can watch the video. And essentially, they're trying to get an abortion for this 13-year-old. And he keeps saying, so it's 13-year-old. Can we do it? It's a man coming up. It's an awful video.
I
Part of the
saw the
reason why I
whole
really wanted
thing.
to talk, you saw the whole thing? Yeah.
It
I
was
really wanted to talk
insane. Like
about
it
it.
made my stomach hurt.
Oh, it made me nauseous.
No, it literally made me nauseous, girl. I sent it to like every one of my close friends. I was like, send, send,
Me
send.
too. Me too. I'm like, you must see this, please.
No, and I think like you get lost. Even someone like obviously like we're in all of that, right? Like pro life movement, but like even for someone like me, like sometimes I forget like the I say atrocities that happen every
Atrocities.
day,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just so like obviously everyone's going through their own thing, and we forget that these like literal like evil things are happening around us and not even like in a far-fetched world, no, like they're happening in our backyard. Like there are so many abortion centers and stuff like that, abortion clinics, and people getting abortion, women getting abortions every day. And we just sometimes I feel like I don't even think about that, and then it's like I think that those videos like put everything into perspective once again of like, oh my gosh, this is real, like this isn't a movie, like this isn't blockbuster, okay, not blockbuster, but like this isn't a whatever, this is actually happening in our lives, in our world, you know?
Yeah, like it's very serious. I mean, like red flag, a grown man asking about a 13-year-old. First thing I'm thinking, human trafficking. Why would a grown man be asking for a 13-year-old to get an abortion and then to not tell her parents and then to cross state lines and then to provide all of these things to a child? I just think that it's disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing. And this isn't something like unheard of by Planned Parenthood. In episode, I think it's 115 of this podcast, I'll link it. I interviewed a woman who used to work for Planned Parenthood, and she said something along the lines of like sometimes they'd see the same man come in with multiple like young girls, but if they had like an ID that said they were older, even if in the back of your head you're like, no, this can't be right, but if they had the right identification, you just go along with it, and like that's evil. I mean, that is so evil. And I think this is just it's like a good reminder to wake up. Like, we need to be encouraging our Congress members to defund Planned Parenthood, A, and then B, we have to get rid of abortion in America.
It's like
We have
honestly,
to.
like when you think about it, like when you say it out loud, like oh my gosh, like government funding these clinics. Like, what? It's crazy. Give me 1 second. My parents are here.
No, you're right. It's just, it's crazy. Like it's
I
just
know.
so. I think that we just don't imagine that this is going. I think, like she said at the beginning, like it's like out of sight, out of mind. So we're not really thinking about like how depraved this can get. But it's just, I mean, it's awful. And I think there's, there's the aspect of a 13-year-old. She's probably so scared, and she's
I
probably so scared
know.
that she felt like she couldn't go to her parents. She was so scared she felt like she couldn't go to her
Get back.
parents, and then she's like going to this man, and like it's just so, the idea of like she's by herself, it's just so sad to me. And she's going to end up in another state and like in a random hotel room. It's just, the whole thing is just so sad. And I think, like, to wrap this segment up,
Yes,
I
yes.
think the biggest thing we need to do is continue to support our pregnancy resource centers and try to see how do we help in our state, because it's in the states now, to
Yeah,
abolish abortion.
for sure.
What do we do? How can we do that? I think that is our next steps, because this is just so awful. It's
Yeah.
awful.
And nothing, no small act is too small to make a
No,
difference. So,
no. So okay, so our last story, I'm just gonna play a clip from
okay.
a conversation someone put on TikTok. It is about bridesmaids and brides dresses. So I'm gonna play this clip, and I'd like everyone's reaction, and here we go.
I just wanted to call actually. I got the dress. The dress arrived for your wedding.
Wonderful. Thanks for letting me know it's arrived. Do you love that?
That's the thing. I'm just a bit concerned because obviously we had a talk about what we were going to be wearing, and I did sort of say to you that I wasn't massively comfortable with the neckline, and you've still ordered them.
Yeah, well, we weren't massively comfortable with the neckline. But, all the dresses have to look the same. That's the whole point of the bridesmaids' dresses.
Yeah, I know, but
I can't have, like, 4 people in one dress and then you standing out in a totally different dress.
yeah, but I just don't get. Like I made suggestions to you, didn't I? I said that what if we all did same color, different.
Okay, so the video is much longer. I'll put it in the show notes and everything.
That's
But
funny.
essentially, this girl was asked to be a bridesmaid. She felt uncomfortable with the neckline, and the bride's like, "Well, this is what we're doing." And it's got girls all over discussing it, and I thought we'd discuss it. First, I want to ask, team bride or team bridesmaid?
I'm like, I will. Okay, look at me. I don't know. Like, I feel like I've never been a bride, obviously, but I feel like from when I've seen brides up close, I mean, they go through a lot of stress, especially the day of the wedding, and I just think there has to be grace on both sides because obviously I think from like a bride standpoint, there's so many things going on, so many things they have to do, and like it's their wedding day, really. So it's really what they want. It's kind of like a birthday. You don't go to someone's birthday and be like, oh, actually, we're gonna have red decorations, and oh, I don't like that cake. We're gonna do this cake. You'll be like, what the heck? Same thing with like a wedding. I just feel like, you know what? It's their wedding day. They want to be a bridezilla. We'll give them that. Obviously, nothing too crazy, but yeah. But also, if you're like a good friend and a good bride, and you kind of know your friends, you kind of know like what's acceptable and what's not. There's like a bunch of hidden rules or hidden like unspoken words, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I
Like,
definitely. So
who?
personally, I'm team bridesmaid, but let me explain myself a little bit. Like, I definitely agree with what you said. Like, I do think if it's luckily the 3 weddings I've been in, 2 of them we
Oh, my
got to pick
ears.
our dresses, and the one that we didn't, I actually genuinely like that dress, and like I'm hoping to wear it again to something.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I think like from the bride's perspective, like or I'm sorry, from the bridesmaid's perspective, like you do, even if you don't like the dress, like you just go along with it. Like it's your friend's wedding. Like that's just what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, if the neckline is like inappropriate, like if they feel uncomfortable, like I wouldn't want my bridesmaid to be uncomfortable. I think that's the part that I just don't understand. Like, if
Yeah.
she expressed to you the neckline
I think
is
it goes both ways. Yeah.
yeah, like if she expressed like the neckline is uncomfortable, then like just have her, or even have her like sew it, or like have her put a piece of fabric in the middle or something. Like
Yeah.
that's the part I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like I'm kind of team bridesmaid on that, because even what if it's someone religious, like super religious, like there's religions where like you have to be incredibly modest. Like I would want that bridesmaid to be as comfortable as possible,
Yeah,
you know.
like for
So like
example,
I
yeah,
just,
my friend,
yeah,
she was my especially like we all come in different sizes, body types and sizes and shapes
that's
and
a good
colors,
point too.
and it's like my friend, she like let us know ahead of time, like hey, this is what I want, like very minimal, like hey, this is the like you don't even have to get the same color, just a shade of this color, and she was like, and you can pick any style that like accentuates your body type. So you know that's like that's like meeting someone in the middle. And she was even nice enough to like throw in a link of like I think it was this was we got like our little bridesmaid proposal boxes like October or November, and then that Black Friday of the Thanksgiving, she sent us a link that they were on sale. So I literally got my bridesmaid dress for like 30-40 bucks.
What?
Like, and that's like a perfect. And then I got my shoes at Target. Like, but again, my friend, I know her, I love her. She's very like when it comes to things like that, she's very like simple. She's not like your crazy extra friend that must have this and this and this and that, you know. So,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
heard bridesmaids and brides end up like not even being friends after the whole thing.
yeah. I've actually been in
Messy.
like a wedding or two or three where that has happened, where like
Yeah.
people that were bridesmaids are no longer friends with the bride.
Yeah,
And
it's always when you mix business and pleasure because at the end of the day they're your friends, but then business
yeah,
because like the financial stuff gets involved, and people are just like, you know what, it's expensive, blah blah blah. Because shoot, the weddings that I've been to, dropped a couple $100s, if not almost
yeah.
like 1,000. So
And the reason why, like, all the weddings I've been in, I'm still very close to all of the bridesmaids, all of the
yeah.
brides. Not to like brag or anything, and I've
Okay, I
done
do have to cut
speeches,
off in
but
like in 2 minutes.
okay, yeah, yeah. I think the reason why it's like worked out for me personally is because like I do intentionally, okay, no matter what this person does today, it is their wedding. So even if they're yelling
Yeah,
at me, I just suck it up and I go, okay, it's their wedding. Tomorrow will be a new day. And I mean, that's just weddings, you know? Like
yeah.
sometimes the bride does get a little frustrated and gets a little, mouthy, but like that's your friend. It's their special day. Let it
The
go. I
best thing you
think
could
like
do
sometimes
is not
people,
react because more times than not, you like regret when you react because I know I do.
yeah, and like I also think like sometimes you forget that like it's their day, and I think that's when it starts to be like when you forget that it's your friend's day, that's when you start to have those like tiffs. That's when you start to
Yeah,
have those like mess up interactions. So
absolutely.
all right, that's this first Teacap of 2024. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will link all of the articles that we talked about, and let us know if you're team bride or team bridesmaid. And I'll think of other things. Let us know in the comments. But comment, rate, review, subscribe, all of that. Come to our event, join the Patreon, leave 5-star review, all of those things. Thank you guys all so much for listening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.